Speak to Nate Lerner, who's a Democrat strategist, also executive director for Build the Wave. And Nate joins us now from New York. How are you feeling at the moment, Nate?
Not as good as I was feeling a few hours ago. I think it's going to be a much longer night than a lot of the Democrats, such as myself, were hoping for. I think there's still a path for Biden to win, but it is much narrower than it was several hours ago.
Why? Why do you think that's the case?
Well, we were hoping, there's a lot of talk if he wins Florida. If Biden wins Florida, that's it. There's no way Trump can win. And now it's looking like Trump is likely going to win Florida. North Carolina is expected as a toss-up. But if you look at a lot of the early numbers coming out of the Midwest, so Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, those are states where Biden was polling very, very well. It's still very early, so a lot of mail-in ballots to count up there. Those are states that count their ballots in late. But at the same time, you're seeing a lot of strong numbers for Trump. What's concerning for me, though, is you have a lot of the Senate races, for example, like Doug Jones in Alabama, the Democrat there, Jamie Harrison, the Democratic challenger to Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. These were supposedly very close races in the polls, and they've lost pretty handedly. So that's concerning. That's just a red flag that the polls have been off. The fact that the polls were so off in Ohio, the polls were so off in Florida, that's a bit of a red flag that you might see similar results in the Midwestern states as well, where Trump could gain some ground and potentially win.
Nate, coming into the election, what was it about Joe Biden and his policies, what he represents, that was leaving you, I presume, with some sort of confidence that he would actually be able to unseat Donald Trump?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it was that Joe Biden is just so unobjectionable. There was a lot of people really didn't like Hillary Clinton. There was a lot of folks all over the political spectrum that really just didn't like her and didn't want to vote for her. We really saw the results. I've always say that Donald Trump didn't win in 2016. It's that Hillary lost. She really underperformed, didn't run a great campaign, didn't have a strong message. Joe Biden, though, he's not disliked. People are more neutral on him. He's also more popular in the Midwest. Older voters like him, and then also, you had people have really made up their minds about Trump. His approval number has never dropped below 40%, but it's never risen above 49, 50%. So, most people already had the information they needed. He was no longer the anti-establishment challenger candidate. So there were a lot of factors at play that worked for Joe Biden, the pandemic, for example, as well. They made you hopeful that, he's going to be able to hold in the blue states like Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, where we performed well in 2018 and historically have performed well, except for 2016. And then also have a chance to hit a home run in Florida or Texas or Georgia, and that really seals the deal. What's happening, though, is those home runs are not happening. He's probably not going to win Florida or Texas. Georgia's still up in the air. But what's scary is now, you have to rely on those backup states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, where now there's less certainty.
But if likability was the most important issue in terms of Biden not being Hillary Clinton and Biden running against a man who many Americans regard as divisive, whether they approve of him or not, what does it say about the issues that are being discussed in terms of the differences between the two men, Donald Trump and Joe Biden? And if the numbers are not to your liking at the moment and you have a little bit of fear in you about what might happen when the eventual result is announced, what does that say about the issues that have dominated and the things that people like about Donald Trump?
Well, it says that he's a very divisive, even though he's a divisive figure, a lot of people agree with that division. A lot of people are on his side there. And it's a scary thought. I really liked Joe Biden because I saw him as a unity candidate. He's a candidate that wanted to bring the country together to fight for the soul of the nation. That was a big part of his pitch. And now to see that so many Americans don't feel that way is very upsetting, especially after all the protests that we saw where, I thought the country was really waking up to the problems that plague our criminal justice system and African Americans have to deal with every day. But unfortunately, I guess, what we're seeing is that a lot of folks feel the opposite. They don't share that sentiment. They don't empathize with the African American communities. They don't want division. They don't want unity. They want continued division. And unfortunately, that's what we are going to get if Donald Trump is elected. But it's still early. There's still a path to victory for Joe Biden. It is just much more narrow.
Nate, really appreciate it. Thank you so much indeed. Nate Lerner, a Democrat strategist, speaking to us from New York, also executive director for Build the Wave.